to like the first ultrasound, right? And the ultrasound tech is always like, oh, here's his head, here's his arms and his legs. And so that's what they're expecting. And the ultrasound tech starts to realize, and she gets really, really quiet. So they're like, oh, what's going on? You know, is there something wrong? She goes, you need to go get the doctor. Her doctor comes in, again, doesn't say anything, just silently, you know, looking through the ultrasound. He goes, I think we should go talk in my office. And so they go to the doctor's office and they say, he definitely does not have arms. Looks like he might not have legs. We're not sure if there's going to be any kind of neurological deficiencies. The doctor didn't, you know, say it in this way, but kind of implied like you might want to terminate.
Gideon,
Jerry.
welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
Gideon Demeglia.
Yeah.
Did I say that correct?
Yeah, if you want to be like super authentic
I do,
Italian,
yeah, I do.
we'll say like D'Amelio.
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 What does that mean?
Means the great or the best of the best is another translation for
So
it.
perfect fit.
Yeah.
Perfect
Gideon
fit.
the Great.
Yeah, that's you. Gideon the Great. I love that. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It means a lot to me. I had an opportunity to research some things about you, and nothing short of amazing. You have a beautiful wife, a beautiful child. You've living the most amazing life, and your story is powerful. And I have this thing that I always say about your light lights my light and lights everybody's light. And that is you. Gideon, would you tell me what it was like in the early part of your life? Would you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 31 years old.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Taylorsville, Utah. I went to public school
Okay.
up until high school. I had some like, I don't know if it was really immune system problems, but I was just getting sick all the time in public school. And so I ended up withdrawing from public school in high school, and I went to an online high school instead.
Okay.
But other than that, I went to public school. You know, I did all the same things my siblings did. Played in band. I played the piano and called the glockenspiel. It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
But basically like marching bells. Played other percussion, right? Played the timpani and bass drum and snare. But did all those things, was in advanced classes, you know, went to school dances, all that jazz. So I really tried to do everything the same as my siblings. My siblings were very into video games growing up, so I became very into video games. And my brother was very into art and drawing, so I became very into art and drawing. You know what I mean? So I just tried to, you know, find where I could be involved and be in it and just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put my head down. We're going to figure this out. And ultimately, I don't care that I'm different. Like, I want to have all the same experiences as you. My dad was actually a Baptist pastor. Pastored a small Baptist church, or he was like the administrative pastor of a small Baptist church down in Riverton, Utah.
Okay.
Called at the time it was called Trinity Baptist Church.
Trinity Baptist.
So that's where I grew up. I have 3 older biological siblings that I grew up with, and then later in teenage years we adopted kind of 3 others. Not like fully adopted, but it's like, you know, they're part of the family.
They're
sure.
brothers and sisters. Were they boys, girls, boys?
So the order is girl, boy, boy, girl, me, girl.
So your house was wild.
Yeah, yep. Really
How did
good
you feel?
mix.
Did you feel different? Like, as far as did
No.
they treat you differently? Because
No, so I can delve a little bit more into, you know, like the pre-story,
Yeah,
right? The lore.
I love that. Yeah.
So my mom has grown up Christian, very strong beliefs. And so, like I said, I'm the youngest of 3 biological. And so when they, you know, you go in to like the first ultrasound, right? And the ultrasound tech, you know, starts off with like, oh, here's his head. And then she starts to realize, and she gets really, really quiet. And, you know, my parents immediately pick up on like, you know, something's going on. And so they're like, oh, what's going on? You know, is there something wrong? And, you know, you can imagine how their hearts are pounding. And the ultrasound tech says something she probably shouldn't have. She goes, we need to go get the doctor. And so it's like, you know, my parents are like freaking out. And so they go get the doctor. Doctor comes in, again, doesn't say anything, just silently, you know, looking through the ultrasound. He goes, I think we should go talk in my office. And so you can only imagine the thoughts racing through my parents' head. And so they go to the doctor's office and they say, so it looks like he definitely does not have arms. Looks like he might not have legs. We're not sure if there's going to be any kind of neurological deficiencies, but we have no idea what kind of life he's going to have. And basically, the doctor didn't, say it in this way, but kind of implied like you might want to terminate.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Was that on the table?
Not for my parents. They're really convicted to that all life is precious, right? That we are knitted together in our mother's womb. And so my mom will tell you, they left the appointment. She laid down on the bed, like face down, and my dad like took my other siblings out to, whatever. And she just had like one big, like overwhelming cry, as you do. And, big surprises come with big feelings.
Right.
She had like one big overwhelming cry, face down in her bed. And then she just chose really powerfully that she was going to love me exactly the same. She was going to raise me exactly like my other siblings. And, we were just going to go for it and just see what happens.
No special treatment for
No
you.
special treatment. No.
I love that.
So we went into it, or they went into it just really headstrong of just like, we're just going to raise this kid and he's going to be awesome. And of course they were right because I'm awesome. But
how much older were your siblings?
So my oldest sibling just turned 40, so she's 9 years older than me.
Okay.
Or I guess she's 8 years older than me because I'll turn 32 in September. And then my older brother is 7 years older than me, so he's a year younger than her.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other older sister is 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So pretty wide range. And so yeah, so they raised me exactly the same. I can tell you when I finally noticed I was different.
Yeah.
So I was in second grade, which is the best grade because a lot of things happened for me in second grade. So I'm in second grade. I'm at recess, and I ask a kid, "Hey, do you wanna play together?" And he says something really that changes the whole trajectory of my life forever. And he says, "Why would I want to play with you? You can't do anything." And and you gasp, right? Because there's a really, really strong or painful, experience in that. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I realized, I was like, wait a second. It's like, I see what he's saying. Like, I don't have arms. Like, I'm different. And so we had a school counselor, and God bless her, I don't remember her name. We called her the feelings lady, which is really cool.
The cuddle puddle.
And I talked to her, and I told her what happened. And she had this really good idea. And she said, Gideon, why don't we have you go and talk to every class in the school, and you can just tell them about yourself and why you use different tools. In school I had like a bigger desk so that I could have everything in front of me, right? Mm-hmm. And you can tell them why you have the bigger desk and like things you can do and all this jazz. And like I didn't realize it at the time, but this is like really my first keynote. And so I, go and talk to all the kids in my school, and it actually works really, really wonderful for me. And I become like one of the most well-known kids in school. I'm obviously very easy to recognize, and people understand me better. And I can tell you now, like that kid, he ended up becoming one of my best friends up through middle school, and it really just opened my eyes to people tend to be guarded against things that are different than them. And they put up walls and they refuse to be vulnerable and they don't want to understand what they don't understand. And so that's that kid's, gut reaction to a kid that's very different than him in both an ability and just, physical or physicality. And so he becomes very guarded and says, why would I want to play with you?
Right.
You can't do anything.
And you're like, hold on.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, wait a second.
You're still human.
I'm still human.
Still, other than a few different things, you're the same as everyone else. Still feel emotions, still.
Yeah.
So would you say the best thing you could do and ask is to be curious?
Yeah, be curious.
To be like, come up and say hello.
Yeah. So I speak for a nonprofit organization called Stand for Kind.
Okay.
And they do assemblies on anti-bullying, resilience, mental health awareness, suicide prevention, all those things, all different ages of schools. And I always tell them to choose curiosity instead of judgment.
I love that.
And so you ask, well, what does curiosity instead of judgment means? And well, you look at something that's different than you, and your gut reaction as a human, and this is very normal, and there's a lot of biological reason for this.
Right.
But you see something different than you, and you judge that thing either as safe or unsafe, depending on how it looks. Most of the time, you're going to choose unsafe, right? And so you put up walls against that thing, and you don't let that thing in. And instead, you can choose curiosity. You can say, well, wait a second, why do you do that differently?
Right.
You know, what things can you do? Or, you know, whatever questions other people may have. I never know these questions. You know, I've been asked a million questions, and I never know what to expect. And so,
Do you feel like, was there every point in your life where, I know in my life, like there's times where you just feel like it just balances and you just cruise, and then you wake up and go, holy cow, I can't do something or something. Did you ever have those points in your life where you're like, and then if so, how did you correct that to go, nobody's perfect except for Christ, and you know what I mean? So it's like, how did you correct that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think what you're asking about is, I can summarize it in a little bit of a story for you.
Thank you.
So I talk about vulnerability is key to progression, right? So that's why I'm so happy to like be on the show, answer questions. And so as a kid, I was really vulnerable, and then as an adult, I'm really vulnerable. But as a teenager, and this tends to happen, right? You become very self-conscious or insecure, and so you become very guarded and very locked up. And that's, you know, no different for me. So I hit middle school, and I became very guarded and locked up.
Right.
And so I've mentioned that I grew up in a Baptist community,
Right.
and so I had people around me all the time saying things like, "Oh, Gideon, if you can smile, what excuse does anyone else have?" Right. And telling me, you know, you're such an inspiration, and you're the strong one, and you know, God doesn't make mistakes. And I carry those beliefs with me now, but at the time, so as a 13-year-old boy that literally has nobody that looks like him in his entire life, like, what do those things sound like?
So expand on that, because like you were saying, people are like, did you ever get sick of people going?
Yeah, well,
like,
so it sounds like a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah.
Gideon, you're always smiling.
Gideon,
Gideon, you're such an inspiration.
Oh,
Gideon,
and you're
you're so
like-
strong. And so I became very obsessed with the facade that I had to put on to be Gideon the inspiration, to be Gideon the smiling one. And so I became, like I said, very obsessed with this. And while the whole time I'm not able to have the room to articulate the complex or the complexity of like having a body that is very different and not seeing anyone, you know, that looks like me. So I had no room to articulate this. And so I became very withdrawn and became very depressed. And I attempted to take my own life a few times, especially in high school. But there was this moment where I finally decided, hey, I'm just going to tell somebody. So I became very interested in this girl.
Okay.
And we started dating. And I finally I told her, I let her in. And at first she did a really good job of just listening and hearing. And I was telling her things like, I feel like God created me to be his punching bag. Like I feel very cursed by God.
Oh, wow.
And like I fully believe in his existence and sovereignty, but I don't believe that he's good, right? Like I believe that he has very much selected his chosen people, and I'm not his chosen people. Like I'm created to be an example of like, this is what you do. Like this is what my curse looks like. This is what my wrath looks like. And she did a really good job at first of just listening and hearing me and giving me that space. And eventually that relationship turned into a very painful relationship, and things became abusive in all sorts of ways. But I realized something in that moment. I realized I can be vulnerable about these things. I told this girl these things, and even at the very worst, like she did not kill me, right? Like I came out of this actually with a lot more understanding about myself and truth of the world than before. Right. When I was very guarded, I didn't learn anything. I didn't move at all, right? And so then, you know, I came out of this abusive relationship, and I came out of, like I said, several attempts on my life. I came to a new understanding of God and who he is, and what he does and his sovereignty. And then shortly thereafter, Brittany, who is my wife.
Brittany.
She's here somewhere. Brittany, who has been in my life forever. I've literally known her entire life. She's 3 years younger than me. And she just suddenly expressed interest in me. And she was somebody, like I said, I've known forever. And I actually denied her at first. I told her no. I was like, no, you're like a sister to me. That's weird. And then I told my best friend what had happened. And he's like, don't be an idiot. Brittany is awesome. So I humbly crawled back to her and was like, hey, give me another chance. And she was like, okay.
So if you could go back, let's just say in this place, we could go back about the attempts on your life. Like you could go back and talk to you. What would you say? Those times, like if you were able to go back to the young you.
Yeah, I've gotten this question. So I tend to do a Q&A at the end of any of my assemblies at schools because I want to hear what the students have to ask me. And I've gotten that question a few times. And, I've never had a super good answer other than saying like, so I fully believe in God's sovereignty, that everything happens for a reason, even when we don't understand it, right? So I look at the story of Job in the Bible, who had everything.
I love
he
that.
He had tons of land, he had tons of livestock, farms, a beautiful wife, kids, and Satan asked God, well, no wonder he worships you. You've given him everything. You've blessed him with everything. And God's like, okay, we'll take it all away from him. He's still going to worship me. And so Satan, God gives permission to Satan to take all those things from him. So he, all of his kids die, his wife scorns him, all of his livestock dies, he loses, all of his wealth. And
they also, as I recall, they had a bunch of skin conditions. Like
he lost his health.
Yeah.
And at the end of, I believe it's chapter 1, verses 22 and 23, it says, Job fell to the ground and shaved his head and tore off his robe. And he said, naked from my mother's womb I came, naked I shall return. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And then this was the key, is that it says at the end, and in all of this, he never cursed God. And so, I know, I have this knowledge now, and I grew up knowing these stories.
Before we move forward.
Yeah.
Like, so how did Job get it back?
Well, so the story continues, and Job is a very long book. It's like 40 chapters.
Right.
But the whole story of Job is that, he loses everything. He continues to praise God through the trials and the suffering. And, James 1 says to take joy in trials and suffering, to endure, because through the trials and through the suffering, that produces endurance, which produces faith, which produces, or that you may be perfect and in the sight of God. And so Job is really just a fully fleshed out version of that, where he continues to praise God and worship God, just that he's even alive, right? That life is such a gift that he can praise God through that. And finally, God returns his blessings to him, coming near the end of his life, and he regains those things. But yeah, just through worshiping and blessing God through the hard stuff.
So you're able to talk to young you. We're in a place, whatever we were gonna do.
I think, like I said, I just don't think I would change it. I think I had to go through those things.
And I totally agree, because that is part of the growth, right? Like people's, it's a thing. Sadly enough, it's an option. Like I know I want to sit here and say it's not an option on the table, but there's a points where you come through the darkest parts of your life and you start going, we can go home anytime.
Yeah.
But I would say, and you could probably validate this, is you will never see tomorrow if you end today.
Yeah.
You'll never see your beautiful wife,
right?
Your beautiful baby.
Yeah. Right? I mean, there's a life that would not have happened.
Right. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
And you have to feel the darkness before you can feel the light.
Yeah.
And it gives you contrast, right?
Right. The darkness doesn't exist without the light.
Right.
I think, looking back, you're asking me, what I would say. I had this really profound conversation with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago where he said, Gideon, you're just a person that doesn't settle. You're just not willing to settle for whatever you're in. And, there's a point where that selfish ambition becomes a bad thing, but that's not what he's talking about. He's like, you looked at the facade that you were putting up, right, of being Gideon, the inspiration. You said, this is not enough. This is not what life is about, right? And that first led you to a place of suicidal ideation, right? That this isn't worth it. This isn't good or helpful. And eventually this has led you into a new place where now you're able to say, oh, yeah, it's not worth it to put up a facade. And instead you can just be genuine and just be vulnerable. I did an assembly. Yeah, I did an assembly up in Bountiful.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the school. It might have been Elkridge Elementary.
Okay.
And so, like I said, I do a Q&A typically. And a second grader, gets the microphone and says, Gideon, I think the kids that bullied you when you were younger have changed because they've met you. Because I've changed because I've sat through this and this has been a ride. And she's like a second grader.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I look at the ripple effect of me just choosing ultimately one thing to stay. And I look at the ripple effect of it. And it's just like, I can't even count the amount of lives I've touched. But like, in one sense, I have a platform, right? So like I have a social media platform, I go and speak at places. And so I don't want people to be discouraged because they're like, oh, well, my life isn't like Gideon's because I don't have a social platform. It's like, no, look at the ripple effect of those around you, starting with just the people closest to you, right? Your spouse, your kids, your parents, if you have siblings, your friends, the ripple effect that you create, even just through those few, for most people, that's like less than 10 people, right? But the ripple effect that you create just through talking and being with those people is still boundless.
Right. So what would you say is the hardship that taught you the most? If there was just one hardship that you have overcome, what would it be?
Yeah, so I look back at that. Like I said, it was an abusive relationship.
Okay.
So I was abused by her sexually, verbally, and emotionally.
Really?
And she had said things to me like, Gideon, your life isn't worth living. Like, you should just kill yourself because you're just an abomination, right? And so, like, hearing those words as a 17 and 18-year-old, right? Like, what does that do to somebody's mental health, right? And it gave me a very clear look of what it is to be in an abusive relationship, right? Because I had been in it. And I've talked to people, friends of mine that have been abused and similar, no abuse is ever exactly the same. But, I've talked with friends that have been in abusive relationships.
Yeah.
She was a sadistic narcissist, a sexual sadist narcissist. And yeah, it gave me a really clear view into advocacy for people in those things, and in those relationships and situations. And oftentimes, we look at people in those relationships and like, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just walk away? And I'll tell you, it's because like she gave me just enough love to make me stay while pouring on everything else, right? All of her wrath and all of her hatred.
Have you heard of an organization called Passionate Wings here in Salt Lake City?
I haven't.
Best
Oh, no, I have heard of
Yes!
them. Yeah, no, they're awesome.
Yeah,
They're great.
They're actually some friends of ours. We've done some work with them, and it's interesting because they're from the men being abusive to women, and it's very interesting to have you say it doesn't just exclude to men to women; it's actually women to men too.
Yeah. It usually shows up in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So men usually end up being like physical abusers.
Yeah.
Whereas I was never, like she never hit me or anything like that. Women tend to be, women abusers tend to be more of that emotional manipulation. And I would say seldomly they have that sexual abuse element, but
Right.
yeah.
It's huge. It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And is there anything you would like to share with somebody that's in that place, in that relationship, how first to identify it, and second, what you should do in that, or at least be aware of it?
I think there are, as far as identifying it, it's really, really hard. I would really try to steer away from any kind of like self-diagnosis of a situation. I think sometimes we talk about, so bipolar disorder is the number one misdiagnosed neurological disorder in the world. And it's because a lot of the parameters to diagnose for bipolar disorder is that you need to have a depressive episode that takes you into a care unit, right? And it's like, okay, well, that could have been me, right? Like in my suicidal attempts or suicide attempts, that could have been me. I could have ended up in a mental health unit. By no means would I ever say that I am bipolar. And so I'm very conscious of things like that. And so I'm really try to steer away from like diagnosing anybody else as anything, right? So like saying like this person is a narcissist, or this person, has borderline personality disorder, or this person is, whatever. And I think you really have to look introspectively, look at yourself and say, what is the situation I'm in and how is it affecting my life, and what can I do to practically change that thing? Like, how can I set myself up for success?
Go in inward first and find out that you are 50% of it.
Yeah.
Not 100.
Am I even happy where I am?
Right.
Yeah. Like, is this person providing any benefit to me?
Right.
And it's just like, if the answer is no, well, there's so many resources available to help you, right?
Like Passionate Wings that help to provide this super amazing support group, clothing, so you can get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one down in my area. So I live in Daybreak now. There's one down in my area called Beauty from Ashes.
Beauty from Ashes. Tell us about that.
I believe I don't believe they're strictly religious. I know that they operate kind of out of
spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual. I know they tend to operate out of churches, but I don't think by any means like you would need to be a part of a church to go through them. But I have friends that have been through Beauty from Ashes, and even friends that work for them. But yeah, they're just trying to help people that have been in an abusive relationship like re-find their feet, right? And find something to stand on. And from a spiritual lens, we find that to be Christ and God. But sometimes that not everybody's going to arrive at that conclusion, and you still want to help them find their feet, right? And be steady. And so, yeah, there's just so many resources, right?
So we went through young you, parents, siblings, life, school. Now we meet the love of your life.
Yeah.
I want to hear about it because I read about it.
Yeah.
And now I want to hear it from you. Like
so yeah, after I humbly crawled back to her and said, "Hey, give me another chance."
How was that to swallow?
That sucked.
Yeah? Did that take some courage?
There was a lot of swallowing of pride.
What did you do? Were you sitting there going, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, I was just like, I hate this so much.
This is so
Yeah, and she even like
did you have kept the flowers me waiting
for a couple of days.
Yeah,
she kept me waiting for a couple of days, and
did she just give it up right away, or was she like, "Okay, I'll talk to you"?
No, yeah.
No, she made you work for it.
Yeah, she made me work for it. We made my current best friend Tristan. We made him third wheel on our first date.
Okay, all right, good.
But Brittany will tell you she brought her wallet because she didn't think I would pay for her.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's brutal.
So she gives you a shot.
Yeah, so she gives me a shot. We go on that first date, just kind of, like I said, we've known each other forever. We know each other's family really well. Like I've stayed at her house countless numbers of nights. She's probably stayed at my house a little bit less. But yeah, so we're very familiar with each other's family. Luckily, there was no like introducing to the in-laws. I was very thankful for that, having already been through that once.
Yeah.
Or a couple of times. And, but yeah, I mean, we dated for 3 years. And the relationship during dating like was very seldomly like perfect, you know what I mean? So a lot of rockiness in that dating relationship.
Tell me about her. Like her.
Brittany?
What? Yeah.
She's just the absolute love of my life. It's gorgeous, and
You guys make beautiful babies.
we do make beautiful babies.
Yeah.
So I went to college for illustration, and you learn how to like design a cartoon character.
Okay.
And when I think about like Cara Lee and her like physical attributes, I'm like, she's just a cartoon character, and that's what makes her so cute. It's like her proportions are exactly what a cartoon character would be.
What is it like to be a husband?
So I have never had any doubts about myself wanting to be a husband or be be a boyfriend or whatever, right? Like I had never been shy about any kind of like romantic relationship. And I love being a husband, right? I love having somebody that I can fully pour into that is also fully pouring into me.
Right.
I love having a person that I can be complete with and completely vulnerable with, and that I can share life with, right? I can wake up next to her every day. I go to bed with her every night. She went on a trip to help her sister move from Iowa to here about a month or two ago. And she was gone for 2 weeks. We realized this was the longest we've been apart since even our dating began, which is
so
like,
hard?
it was like 11 years. And yeah, so that was, extraordinarily difficult for both of us. But yeah, so I had never had any doubts that I wanted to be, a husband eventually, right? I have a lot of love to give somebody, as long as, not as long as they're willing to give it back, but, I have a lot of love to give. So I never had any doubts about that. But ask me about being a father,
Yeah.
and I was terrified.
Right.
um,
And why is that?
I had a lot of, it's funny because I've done so many things that I would have never guessed, that other people would never guess that I could do, right?
Right.
So like I've shot a bow and arrow, I can shoot a gun, I was a professional artist for years. I played video games at a highly competitive level for years. I, do horseback riding, I've ridden a motorcycle. So like I've done all these things.
You sing?
I sing, I play bass guitar, I play piano. And so it's like, I know all these things that people would never expect of me that I do. And then people were like, well, how are you going to be a dad? And I'm like, you're right, freaking, how am I going to be a dad? I have no idea. And there's just a lot of very practical, logistical things that we have stormed our brains trying to think about, like, how can Gideon do these things? And we've come to the conclusion, it's just like, I can't, right? When she cries in the middle of the night, I cannot reach into her crib and pull her out. And then there's diapers changing, baths, I can feed her, and I love to feed her. But like cooking meals for her, doing her laundry, cleaning her room. So there are things that like we just have to simply accept the fact that I am just not going to be able to do this thing. But like instead we have to focus on, well, Gideon, what can you bring to the table? And it's like, well, I really love kids. I do have a lot of love to give. And I can pour myself similarly as I pour myself into Brittany, obviously not exactly the same, but I can pour myself into this child and let her know that you are loved, you are special, you are more valuable to me than any other thing in the world.
So what do you think Brittany thinks of you? What if you described you, like you just talked about the beautiful her.
Yeah.
What do you think it's like?
I think she probably thinks I'm pretty dumb.
I highly doubt that.
I know that she knows that I love her. And I know that she loves me. What does she think about me?
Yeah,
she probably thinks I'm funny. Well, I know she thinks I'm funny. She really loves that I play music. And, I've written her songs, and I know she really loves that. She loves that I'm adventurous.
Yeah. What about your parents?
We talk about what is good and where does goodness come from. And I will tell you, I fully believe it does not come from humans. So full separation is the definition of hell, right?
Right.
So the Bible describes hell in several different ways, right? Sometimes it's a pit of fire, sometimes it's outer darkness. And as far as physicalness of what hell is, I don't believe that that's really important. That's a tertiary issue. But what we know is that God can't be a part of sin, and sin cannot exist in God. And so if you are in a place that is all sin, that must be completely separate from God. There is no goodness there. And so God being the source of all good, if he is separated from this place, right? He has created a space where he is not. What does that leave? That leaves badness.
Right.
And that's all that it is.
Absence of light is darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what separation from God is. It has to be all badness. Now on earth, luckily God dwells here, right?
Right.
And so we see good, and that's how we see things like beautiful birds in the trees, right? We see, beautiful fish in the sea, and we have the beautiful sunrise and sunset. We have the mountains here in Salt Lake, right? And that's why we have that level of goodness. The Bible also teaches that humans are innately sinful, and that goodness.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you don't believe that? Put 2 2-year-olds in a room and give them one toy and see what happens, right? Um, but we are to be, so I have on my feet tattooed. I
Yeah.
have the cross and the empty tomb tattooed on my feet, and it says, "Let my life be the proof
Right.
of your love," which is a lyric from, oh gosh, I always want to call them Fit for a King, but that's a different band. Um, gosh, you guys will know. You can just Google those lyrics
Okay,
and you'll
everybody
find
Google
them.
it.
Yep. But I have it on my feet to be a reminder that my life is to be a reflection of Christ's love for the people. And I think I got that from my parents, right? This band put it into words and articulated it for me, but I got that principle from my parents. My parents, gave it to me, and now I give it to, Brittany and Kara Lee, and I try to give it to people around me, right? So people, say, Gideon, you're such a positive person. Well, I'm just trying to reflect God's positivity and God's goodness and his greatness.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
You studied psychology?
I did.
Okay, so you're going to give me advice. I'm single, out in the world now.
Let me tell you, the first thing in psychology is don't give people advice.
So, okay, as a husband,
Mm-hmm.
what am I going to do different in this marriage based on whatever advice you want to give me that I don't bring the toxic relationships to the next one?
Like what do you need to do differently?
Yeah, everything.
Um,
How do I create the relationship like that's going to be sustainable and forever?
I think my key piece of relationship advice actually comes from Ephesians chapter 5, I want to say.
Okay.
Talks about wives submit to your husbands, which we don't need to talk about because that gets misconstrued enough. And I'm not going to expand on that perfectly. But the very next verse says, husbands, submit to your wives as Christ submitted to the church or loves the church. And so I think to myself, how can I lay my life down for, I have the image of like a man taking off his suit jacket to lay on top of a puddle so
Right.
that the woman can walk
Right.
across, right? What does that look like in my life in a daily manner? And I think, obviously I have some physicality things that prohibit me from doing that in a way that a lot of other people could, right? But for other people, that could look like, how about you wake up and go get the child in the middle of the night and let your wife continue to rest, right? How about you go change that diaper? How about you go give the bath? Or if you don't have kids, right? How about you cook dinner? How about you do the dishes? How about you clean up the house? But how do you submit yourself to your wife in love the way that Christ laid his life down on the cross for you?
No pressure.
No pressure. So that's the point, right?
Right.
We are commanded to do something that we cannot.
Right.
And this is not the Bible being unfair. There is so many places in the Bible that command us to do something that we simply cannot do, right? We're commanded to keep the old law. We can't do that,
Right.
right? We're commanded to understand the height, depth, and length of which God loves us. We can't do that, right? Take care of the whole earth. Even as a species, we can't seem to do that, right? If we can talk about the data center up in wherever the heck,
Yeah.
right? That's not taking care of the earth.
No.
That's our literal very first thing that we get told to do. Take care of the earth. Look how great we're doing at that.
Right.
And so it's not the Bible being unfair. So if it's
keeping-
not the Bible being unfair, what is it? I'm asking you now. It's my interview.
Okay, go ahead. All right. Okay, give it to me again. Say it one more time.
So if those commands are not the Bible being unfair, what is it?
Ooh, that's a powerful question, isn't it? On the spot here. I think we do our best. I think we do our best at living the most perfect life we can, and in every challenge we have the opportunity to fail, but we also can see the growth in it.
Yeah, and I understand that perspective. What if I said our best sucks?
Well,
Look at what our best is right now.
Well, how many miracles do you have to see in this world before you believe? I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
And I still question my faith.
Mm-hmm.
Christ was the only perfect person that was ever been on this earth.
Amen, brother.
And they killed him.
Yeah.
And we knew he was coming.
Mm-hmm.
We knew what he was going. What you know what I mean? So it's like, I guess we just wake up every day and be the best that we can.
But who can we rely on?
Us and Christ.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I depend on all of my strength and all of my love and all of my might to come from the perfect one,
right? Who's always with us.
Who's always with us.
Right? He always said, here, you just keep me in your heart.
Gave us the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Right?
And the Holy Advocate, right?
Yeah.
So we have that connection with our higher to understand this world, because it was tough. John chapter 14, right?
Yep. Yeah. So if we can rely on the perfect to do, and try to reflect that, then there you go. So it is in my opinion, it is a do your best, but not your best. Do your best to be a reflection of the best.
Right.
Right.
You get pregnant.
I didn't get pregnant.
Well, ask her. It's we get pregnant. It's not just her. It's we. We're having a kid.
Yeah.
Were you scared?
Yeah, terrified.
Why?
It was so scary. What's funny is, okay, gonna get a little biological on you.
Yeah.
So Brittany's periods have always been irregular. And so we have taken countless pregnancy tests because we just are just like, oh no.
We're on.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
exactly. So, and eventually, so this was about not 5-ish years ago, sorry, about 5 years in to our marriage, right? Yeah. So imagine 5 years worth of like pregnancy tests.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like they get kind of old, right?
You're just like.
And so I think we had the day off. And Brittany was just like, I'm just going to go take a pregnancy test. And I'm literally like on my computer, like playing a video game.
Right. You're just like, okay.
I'm just like, yeah. I was like, just okay.
Right.
And then she takes the pregnancy test, right? She goes to check it after like the 3 or 5 minutes or whatever it is. And she goes, oh my gosh. And I'm like, are you serious? Right? Throw my headset off, right? I leave the game. And we're like both like, we're shaking in our boots. Our timbers were shivered.
Oh.
And so we live in a basement apartment. My parents live on the main floor, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law live on like the second floor, right? So it's like a multi-generational house. And so first we call Brittany's mom and her sister, who is her best friend, other than me, obviously.
Right.
Her close second. We call them. Yeah. We FaceTime them rather. And they're like, what's up? And Brittany just pulls the pregnancy test into frame, right? And they're like, lose their minds, right? There's tears. And then we go upstairs, and my sister and my mom are at the counter making food. And I'm like, oh, what are we having for dinner tonight? And they're like, oh, we're having blah, blah, blah. And I say, you know what else we're having? We're having a baby.
And they're like, what?
And they're like, blah, like lose their mind. And so when we found out that Brittany was pregnant, there was a lot of joy. Right. Absolutely. A lot of anticipation. So we get off that emotional high, that adrenaline high. And then we go to bed that night, and I'm like, holy crap.
Right.
How different is my life going to look in a year?
Yeah.
And it's like.
Forever.
Well, yeah, forever.
Forever.
Yeah. And I love the word apprehension. It is the looking forward to something while still being scared of it.
Right.
Right. And I was full of apprehension for all of her pregnancy. I was really terrified of like giving birth, like that whole thing.
Why is that?
I just am not great in those situations. So I was really terrified of that. My mother-in-law stayed with us in the hospital for it. Brittany ended up having a surprise cesarean.
Okay. She had preemie?
Nope.
No.
So we went in to get induced, and they gave her, I can't remember what the drug is called, but they gave her the stuff to induce labor. And then Carolee's heart rate was just like spiking a lot during the labor process. So they're like, we probably shouldn't go for a natural birth.
She's in distress.
Yeah. And so they're like, let's just do a C-section. And Brittany and I were both just like, yeah, whatever's keeping the baby safe.
Let's do it.
So we did it. So luckily all of that apprehension and fear that I had of like that situation went a lot faster.
Were you ever concerned about her having all of her limbs, anything like that? I mean, was it ever going through your mind?
So yeah, we were like, man, what if we have an armless baby?
Yeah.
But we thought it would actually be really cool. We're like, if we have an armless baby, like we're calling ABC, we're calling TBS.
We're gonna do it.
Like we're gonna have a TV
Yeah.
show. But yeah, so
Would you have wanted that? I mean, what would...
want's a strong word. I think
Yeah.
I would have been really comfortable in it.
Yeah.
Even one because I've now done it, right? And it's like, so when I grew up, we didn't have a lot of resources. We had Shriners Hospital up in Salt Lake. They were fantastic, and I could talk about them for ages, but that's another episode of the podcast.
Yeah, okay. We'll have you back.
But yeah, so we had Shriners Hospital, and they were awesome. But it's like, other than that, there's there's not a lot of people that look like me.
No.
And so then to have a daughter
Not a
where
lot of
her
people look like
dad
me
looks
either.
exactly where her dad looks exactly like her, like what a blessing that would be, right? And how cool would that be? So want's a strong word, right? But I just, we both agreed that it would be really cool. I mean, obviously she was born and has all of her limbs. We counted all of her fingers when she was born. A little known fact, I don't even know if you've probably noticed yet, but I only have 4 toes on each foot.
I did.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just the first ultrasound, we were very much anticipating. We're like, okay, is she going to have arms? Is she going to have arms?
Yeah.
And then she did, and we were like, oh.
So what can you do with your feet?
I mean, yeah, I've talked about it a little bit, right? So I think the ones people are most impressed with is that I was a professional artist for 6 years.
Right.
So I loved art in school.
Okay.
And then I turned 18 in my senior year, and I said, I'm done.
Done.
I was like, pre-calc sucks. I don't want to take this.
Right.
And so, so I dropped out in my senior year, went and got my GED, and then started attending SLIC to get a visual arts degree in illustration. Never finished that degree. Didn't need to. Did portrait art, I guess, drawing portraits of people professionally for like 6 years. Also did some graphic design and web design and stuff too. Other things I do is I love video games. So any video game listeners, I've played all of the Souls games. Yes, I've beaten them all multiple times. I tend to play games on the hardest difficulty because I like the challenge. But yeah, I play bass guitar, I can play piano, write music, can shoot a gun, shoot a bow and arrow. I have a sword collection, and I like to chop water bottles with my swords.
Really? I love that.
Roll the footage.
Roll it. Yeah, we're going to get the... if there's anything you could tell somebody or share with the world, what would you share with them?
I just think that, like, one thing from my story that I like to tell people is that no matter how alone you think you are in something, so think about my situation. So the CDC estimates it's like 1,500 out of the 3.6 million babies born in the US a year have upper or lower limb differences. So that's 0.052%. So it's an extremely small percentage. Now, even less than that experience two like upper and lower limb differences, right? They don't even have a number for this. And so no matter how alone in a situation you think you are not alone in it. I am not alone in my situation, right? So first and above all, right, I have my relationship with Christ. Secondly, I have my relationship now with my spouse, right? Before that, I had my relationship with my family. I had a relationship with my friends. I personally believe blood is thicker than water.
Right.
And so no matter what you're in and how alone you think you are, I promise, I swear to God, you are not alone in that situation.
Right. Who else is with you? It's always with you.
Right.
I love our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
If there's one conversation that can be happening more in the world, what would it be?
God loves you.
Yeah.
More than you can possibly fathom.
Yeah.
You are just so, so loved.
Yeah. If Christ was on the show today and he wanted to leave something with us, his message that I think a lot of people missed, there's one word that just resonates with me. What is it? One word that fixes all problems on the planet.
Love.
Love.
Mhm.
So we also have one of our keynote sponsors now, which
Okay.
is Super Cloud International, Super Cloud Energy. And they're creating some of the most amazing technology for the world, which goes hand in hand with what you were talking about.
Cool.
We have a pod that we'll deploy that'll have 5G technology.
Nice.
It will have Starlink on it, and it'll have power. And so
Starlink is
they came on as
crazy.
one of our keynote sponsors. So I love how
Yeah.
this is
Yeah, dude.
this is amazing.
Yeah, just love the world, man.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show.
I wanna thank you for having me.
Is there anything that you feel like that you want to cover that we did not cover? Something that you would like to bring awareness to?
I think the only thing I can think of is that Utah has the highest teen suicide rate in the country.
Yeah, I heard that. Is that what do you think the causes of that?
I think just social pressure.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of hypotheses as to why that is, scientific and spiritual, and a lot of people that are anti-religious will say that it's because the prominent religion here. I don't know what the full answer will be. All I know is there is a clear need for help here and a clear need for students to hear that they are loved, that you are not alone. You are valuable regardless of what anybody else says or thinks. You have innate value as a human being, even though we suck.
Right. We don't have the crisis hotline here. I don't have the number, but
Yeah.
I would encourage them to reach out to a counselor.
Yeah.
You and I both have different circumstances, but both have contemplated the
Yeah.
exiting stage left.
Right. Like I'm diagnosed with major depressive disorder, which just simply means that my brain has a harder time being happy than other
Right.
people's.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've attempted suicide multiple times, and I'll just tell you, it's choosing a permanent end to a temporary situation.
I love that, which is the basis of the show. Once again, outlast the temporary.
Yeah.
This too shall pass.
Yep.
That's the show. That is why I'm doing this. That's why you're here.
It's beautiful.
Everybody here is. We want our brothers and sisters to know, like, you don't corner the market and having challenges.
Yeah.
And we need challenges to overcome so that we understand the beautifulness.
Yep.
There's no way you can have a perspective about something so amazing without the perspective of something so horrible.
Yeah.
And we don't understand, because I can say, like, I've had a rough 5 years, probably the roughest of my whole life. And that's why I'm here, because I was looking.
Yeah. Look where it's brought you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For coming on the show. Means the world to me.
It's my honor.
I was
Happy to be a part of it.
I cannot express to you my gratitude for you taking time out of your life to share your story and to bring awareness to our brothers and sisters. So, one of our other sponsors, Reams, Western Outfitter, and
We love Reams.
yeah. So the Cliff and everybody down there. They've been really great about helping us. We have a little thing for your wife.
Great.
And we just want to say thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you like our content, I ask you to like and subscribe. Go ahead and jump on the comments if there's anything we can do.
Ask questions.
Yeah, be curious.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions in the comments.
Ask questions, right? We will get them back to you. All questions will be answered. So, all right. Thank you and see you soon.